some star power for sure. One of Matthew McConaughey's most like out of character roles because of how he is. And he's like this bald, burly bearded, jacked, crazy man.
He looks nothing like Matthew McConaughey.
Right.
Like, obviously he's a very recognizable actor with his voice and how he talks, but like went years. If you would have been like, who do you know the guy from like How to Lose a Guy in 10 Days was that crazy villain character from the Dragon movie?
Yep.
No way. Are those the same?
Get back on.
I'm so nervous.
You remember how to do it. And we are back. Welcome back to the Movie Dads Podcast. We're your hosts. I'm Howie.
I'm Kyle.
And that is Kyle. We are back from our month-long hiatus for episode 76 of the Movie Dads Podcast, the 2002 post-apocalyptic fantasy action film, Reign of Fire. Now, you haven't seen our smiling faces.
We watched this movie.
Yeah, we watched this movie like the first week of March, I think. We did not record a single episode in the month of March. How crazy is that?
We took a month off. We
took a month off.
We didn't know we needed a break, and we didn't plan for it. We just looked up, and we were like, wow, it's been a month.
I think the last thing we said during our 75th episode I'm pretty sure I said, we don't know when our next episode will come out because I am traveling for a month for training for work. And I did. I wish I could say I went to exotic places. I'd say the most exotic place I went was Flint, Michigan. But
nice. How was the water?
It tastes like a bag of pennies.
Jesus.
No, I'm just kidding. I didn't.
Did you bring a case of bottled water with you for that trip?
Just drank bottled water while I was in Flint. So the town is rough. It is a very poor town. It is exactly what you expected it to be. Nice. But yeah, so I spent time in Detroit, in Flint, in Saginaw, Michigan. And then I was in Wisconsin for a while. I was in Green Bay. And I was in Milwaukee. I did go see Lambo while I was in Green Bay. It was snowing that day, so that was pretty cool. I took some cool pictures.
Dope.
And then I was in Madison, Wisconsin. I've been all over Nebraska, including some very small, poor towns in the middle of the Panhandle.
My first couple of years on the recruiting world, I had Western Nebraska. Yeah. I love it out there. Scottsbluff, Valentine,
I was in Valentine. Shadron.
It's my world. Yeah, Shadron. Dude, that little part of Nebraska is actually pretty gorgeous.
It's pretty scenic out there too, and everything was brown. Still nothing was green yet while I was there, but not bad. And then I spent last week in Springfield, Illinois.
Love it.
Yeah.
Love that.
So the only thing, Springfield, obviously it's where Abraham Lincoln was from. So everything's
obviously.
Lincoln. Everything's Lincoln. And I was like, I could go see his tomb. And I'm like, he's already dead. I'm all right. And, but like the guy I was training with, it's like, you ever had a horseshoe? And I'm like, I don't know what you're talking about. And it's this big thing in Springfield. Do you know what a horseshoe is? Like to eat?
Thing that goes on the bottom foot of a horse.
So a horseshoe is it's like two pieces of Texas toast, like cut into, I don't know, triangles. So it's like a bottom, and then you pick your meat and they put your meat on the Texas toast, meat of your choice, and then they pour French fries on top of it, and then they cover it in beer cheese. That's a horseshoe.
Burn on my body.
I said it's like an American poutine or something,
Did you try it?
Yeah, of course I had a horseshoe. It was
pretty
amazing.
Up to me? I feel like if you were to tell me I'm going to give you something that has fries and smothered in beer cheese, I'm probably going to like it. So
yeah, it was so the guy I was training with, he's like, we got to leave we got to be there right at 11. And I'm like, for lunch? And he's like, yeah, we got to be there right at 11. We'll never get a table at dinner time. And I'm like, okay. So we left at 10:40. We get to this place and it's apparently the best horseshoes you can get. We got there at 10:50 and there was already a line of 20 people to get in.
Oh my God.
On a Tuesday.
So that's apparently the horseshoe is like same famous as like St. Louis barbecue. That's like when we tried to do barbecue in St. Louis, it was like that. Like, what the fuck is wrong with you people?
So yeah, that was the biggest thing during my travels. So
nice.
Yeah. But we're
Love
back.
that.
It's been a month. We're back. We're going to try. I'm done training with my new job. I am home now. I still will travel a little bit more than I used to for work, but I will be home enough that I should be able to record most weeks. We might have a few less episodes that we'll be able to do, and that's okay. But yeah, it might not be every week, but we're going to make it work when we can, and we'll let you know when that's going to happen. So
yeah, excited to be back. Feels good.
It's probably gonna be a long
saddle.
One. Yeah,
that's okay. We knew.
Got him.
We're so back. Love that. Cool. I guess we're kind of jumping into.
Yeah, let's jump in. We're movie dads. We've got movie kids. What's going on in our world? What's going on in your world, Kyle?
It's been obviously millennia since we've been on here. For me, really just, I guess for me, like the big thing that's going on in our house right now, which I was mentioning before the episode, my son, or my two oldest sons, are fully invested into Warhammer 40,000 now. Like, we're officially in. They love it. It started with Grayson playing the video game that came out, Warhammer 40K of Space Marine 2. It's actually a pretty dope game. It's very Gears of War, but he beat that game and it ignited a fire in him that just has spilled over to him wanting to get involved in the tabletop side, which my whole life I've always thought those look cool, but like that's a different kind of nerd. And there's so much lore to it. Like, there's no way I'll ever be able to get into that. Well, leave it to my sons to want to get into that. My kids are very into playing with like army guys. Like, they have always set up giant, massive battles of army guys, or freaking, we now have a massive droid army, Lego army, and clone trooper armory. So those are set up all the time. So like they kind of correlated like army guys with Warhammer tabletop guys. So there's these little tiny dudes that are pretty intricate and expensive AF, which is another part of it that I'm like not excited about.
Right.
But he was like all in, was asking for it, was like, Dad, I want to get a set. I want to play the tabletop game. And I kept saying, like, we'll look at it. I took him into the comic book store with me, and the comic store that we go to, Dragon's Lair, has a lot of Warhammer stuff.
Yeah.
And so he saw it all, and that like solidified. It's like, we need to get my own set. I need to get these. Like, you need to buy me soldiers. Like, I need to be able to create my army and build. So I'm like, all right, I'll look into it. Talk to our neighbor who next door, Kevin, super nerd, is all into the Warhammer. Like, he's got hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of armies and all the books and the paint and all that stuff. And so he let Grayson see some of his like Warhammer setup and helped us kind of start. So we bought what's called a starter pack.
Yeah.
It literally comes with like 5 Space Marines, 10 Tyranids, I think is the, like, they're like spider aliens. It's actually kind of very Starship Troopers. It comes with the paint set for it and like a battle placemat. So I did not know that you actually have to build the little guys. I thought you just bought them. I did know that you had to paint them.
Mm-hmm.
But you really have to put them together like piece by piece, armor, helmets, all that stuff, and then paint them. So we finally got the official set 2 days ago, and we built the Space Marines last night. We're going to build the Tyranids tomorrow, and then we're going to do some painting over the weekend. So
okay,
we'll see how it goes. It is the full nerddom, but
it's another level.
Someone once told me, don't yuck my yum.
Yeah, it's true.
And so I'm like, if that's what you're interested in and that's what you like, then I'll learn it. So, and it's actually like the lore is fucking dope. Like, there's some cool stuff in there. There's a reason why Daddy Cavill loves Warhammer.
True that.
So, And I keep telling my wife, because she's like worried that like we're gonna get like my son's gonna get like bullied at school because of it or something. And I'm like, listen, if Henry Daddy Cavill can do Warhammer and be obsessed with it, then that makes everything okay. Like that makes it's cool to do no matter what, is how I am leaning. So anyways, we're really into Warhammer right now. That's what's going on. Also, Grayson, I introduced him to the movie 300. We had like a guys' night last week, and that was the movie I chose. And also, he is obsessed with that now. So, but yeah, what's in the world of dad? Tell me.
Well, so a couple things. One, flag football started for Dez, so that just started last weekend. It was cold and it was rainy and it sucked, but we made it through. And they, they're 8 and 9-year-olds and they're playing flag football in the spring. So it has its challenges. And Dez hasn't played flag football in year and a half since we played for Millard, and we had such a wonderful experience with that flag football team.
Is it the Y League?
Yeah, we went through the Y.
Nice.
Yeah. So we went through the Y.
It's fun. I mean, we had fun doing it.
The Y doesn't care as much about winning as like Miller did, which was the issue that we ran into and whatever. Yeah. Anyway. And then Reagan started softball. She hasn't had her first game yet, but she started practices, so that's great. They've merged 2 teams together. Same coach, but older. They have a lot more older girls now, which is good. That'll make them more competitive because they have a couple pitchers now and things like that. And then show choir season just ended, which is sad and great at the same time because I've seen the same performance like 6 times, and they do a great job. But you've seen it once, you've seen it enough. So I'm not too sad that that's over and done with, but I'm glad we've moved on to softball, and that's the next thing because those games they're different every time. But that's been going on when I've been traveling. So I've been taking my Xbox, which has been good because because I have like Prime on it, right? And I have Max, and so I can Disney Plus, I can watch shows and stuff while I'm in the hotels at night. But what I have been able to do, and no, don't judge me for this, Kyle, because I know you're going to, but I've been able to, the kids, so Reagan has a Nintendo Switch, Des has a Switch Lite, I obviously have an Xbox. There's not a ton we can all do together, but we've gotten into Fortnite. Because it's cross-platform, right? So
judging.
I know
I'm not judging,
but it doesn't cost us anything to get the game, right? And we can play cross-platform. Yeah, and then so Reagan just calls me on her cell phone. I put it on speaker, and we can all talk, and we can co-op and play trios and stuff. And I will say this: so the current chapter of Fortnite has been kind of fun because they've introduced Mortal Kombat elements into the game. So I'm like all about like getting Sub-Zero's hands are a weapon, and you like get his powers. And yeah, so I've actually kind of enjoyed that. I've had a lot of fun. So they actually did an update yesterday, and they've put Scorpion's hands into the game now. So now you can do the exactly. So I haven't gotten to play yet since that happened, but yeah, I'm kind of
the Fortnite bug.
It's nice when I'm traveling to play with the kids. It really is.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's cool. I wouldn't have thought of that. That's cool.
And I did, I did buy some skins. So like I'm Scorpion. I got Des Scorpion too. Reagan got Katana.
Nice.
We all also have Sub-Zero because he's actually part of the game now. The other ones you had to buy, but Sub-Zero was like an unlockable character to get. So
that's pretty dope.
It was actually, it's fun. And it's not like Fortnite was when I played it a few years ago. There's actually other things to do now other than just Battle Royale. Like there's other games. There's a Ninja Turtles game that's in it. So there's a lot of that kind of stuff too. So
we downloaded it one time like a couple years back, and I didn't know what there's so much going on, but I could tell there was a lot of different things that you could do. So
right, and it's fun because like there are certain times where we'll be playing, and you can tell that you're playing like a bunch of 8-year-olds, and I just absolutely fucking annihilate them.
That's great. When Grayson got the Oculus for Christmas, and when I was trying to set it up, like I went into a world, and that's pretty much what it was just like it's all like, fuck, I forget what it's called, but you can hear them as like a person gets closer, like you can hear it get closer. And if they get farther away, they get farther away. So like I was in a room and literally like freaking children are just like running by, making fun of me, not knowing what I'm doing, like yelling at me to, hey, old guy, get out of the way. Like, I had no idea what I was doing. So nice. Fortnite, love that. For you, sounds like they're learning a lot about Mortal Kombat as well.
Yeah, so Des and I watched Mortal Kombat the other night. He freaking loved it. The newer one, not the OG. The newer one. He freaking loved it, and him and Grayson actually made a deal where like Des has to watch 300 and Grayson will watch Mortal Kombat. So they're
fucking cool are our nerdy ass sons.
Yeah, they're our nerdy kids watching these hard R-rated movies.
Hey, it is what it is. I think I showed Grayson Starship Troopers like a year or two ago.
Yeah.
And that was like, that's...
Des loves action movies. He's not... We've showed him a couple PG-13 horror movies. He's not into that like Reagan and I are, but he like... we've watched all the John Wicks. He freaking loves them. He's all about it.
Because they're cool. They're so cool.
He likes a good action movie.
I grew up in a house where like it was like if a movie was out and it was popular, like we saw it. Like, and so for me... anytime there's those movies, I'm like, I watched this when I was a kid. So, like, if I did, I don't care if you watch it.
Yeah, I don't know if it was since the last time we recorded or not, but Des and I watched Terminator and Terminator 2. He, he loved the second one. Like, again, man, I tell you, every time I watch that movie, it's like an experience. It's such a great freaking movie.
Yes, that Terminator 2, last time I watched it, and we talked about it on the pod, I'm like, this is potentially like the greatest movie ever made. It's good.
I was thinking about it. I'm like, this is a perfect movie. It is a perfect movie. There is no flaw to this film.
Yes. And there's like an hour-long documentary on like YouTube that is all the behind the scenes stuff that makes you realize how much like goes into the movie and why it's even cooler. So
yeah, it's so good.
Nice. Love that.
Yeah.
Well, should we've got a lot in our next segment, which is
this is my 6 to midnight. We've got a lot to talk about too. This is my 6 to midnight.
Jesus Christ. There's so much to talk about.
We do.
So we've done a lot into it. Let's jump into our most excited segment of the pod. This is our 6 to midnight. This is where we talk about the things that get us up in the morning. For this week, nerd news, new movie trailers, new casting news, what video games are we playing, what comic books came out. There's so much going on. But before we jump into that, I would be remiss if I did not say, let's have a moment of silence for one Val Kilmer Batman. You probably can't see him. He's standing right there next to the Val Kilmer Batman Batmobile. Iceman, we lost yesterday. How sad. What a freaking like icon when you think of the movies he was in.
He had a battle with throat cancer for a while, which I think had gotten better, but it sounds like he passed away from complications from pneumonia.
Yeah.
Only 65 too, which is, pretty dang young.
Yeah. It's crazy. He had such kind of like a roller coaster of a career, like of people.
Like 80s and 90s, man, he was hot. Like he was hot in the 80s and 90s. And then, the 2000s, he started doing like more kind of indie movies and stuff. And it was a lot different.
Kind of blew up there for a little bit. Like there's a documentary that came out that was kind of going over his like throat cancer stuff and his battle with that and how he used to define himself and now going through that. So I think once that came out, people really started like looking back, like actually this guy is fucking awesome. Like he was great for us. He's awesome Batman.
He always had that like carried around the like he was difficult to work with. You remember hearing all that?
Yeah.
Yeah. And he addressed that in that documentary too and said a lot of that had to do with Batman because he was so freaking miserable in that suit that they made.
Yeah.
That he had issues with it. And that's why he refused to do Batman again. He was like, no, I hated it so much. I don't want to do it.
Yeah. Well, and I think a lot of people gave him shit for that. Obviously, like it was so different from Michael Keaton that people weren't ready to accept it. But I would say over the last couple of years, that has been people look at that more fondly. They think it was actually better than they remember, and that apparently there's a Schumacher cut out there somewhere. So, but yeah, Prince of Egypt. Do we even talk about how great of a movie that was? That was Val.
Yeah, we talked about Tombstone. Man, like
Tombstone. Yeah. There's a film. I can't think of the name of it, but it's like a prison fight movie where he is like the mentor he's a prisoner in prison who's been there for a long time, who is like the mentor of a newly jailed person. And in the prison, the guards are like corrupt and they make the prisoners fight.
Felon.
Dude, Felon is a super cool, nobody knows about movie. Basically, in this prison, it's like a underground like fight league. The guards make them like fight one-on-one like every single day. And Val Kilmer like takes this dude and he's like his mentor. So cool ass movie. But anyways, so Val Kilmer, R.I.P. We'll miss you, buddy. Thanks, Iceman. What do you got?
Okay, let's start down the list. A couple things. One, Cinemacon is this week, which is the big show in Vegas where basically all the movie studios put on stuff for movie theater chains. And they're like, this is what we're bringing to you guys this year or upcoming slate. So tons of stuff is coming out of Cinemacon. So some of the biggest things that I've heard come out of Cinemacon so far this week is they did a trailer for the Wicked sequel. Wicked for Good was shown today in front of all the execs and stuff. So that'll be coming out soon to the public, we would assume. Apparently, it's the second half of the Broadway show. So that came out. They did show the full movie for the live action How to Train Your Dragon to people.
I saw some clips of people going in.
Some reactions and stuff, very positive. So I'm excited to see that. Obviously, that movie rocked. Sony announced the MCU Spider-Man movie's name, Spider-Man Brand New Day, which is a comic storyline from the 2000s, which actually does kind of follow along with Spider-Man's life after everybody forgets who he is. So they're kind of...
I just listened to like an audio version, like an audio reading of that storyline on YouTube like a week ago, randomly. No attachment to this. So love it.
Excited. Yeah, that's good. And then Spider-Man Beyond the Spider-Verse has an official release date. They did release some stills and some images, and the animation's actually a little different than what we saw before, but it's going to release June 4th, 2027.
Wild. That's crazy.
I know. It was supposed to release like last year, and now it's going to be another 2 years from now.
That is crazy.
Yeah. So I heard there's problems with it, but we'll find out, I suppose. And then Lionsgate did their panel. They're doing a John Wick 5. Keanu Reeves is coming back as John Wick. For those of you who saw the end of John Wick 4, I guess that answers that question.
It's printing money. Might as well.
Yeah. And then they're doing an animated John Wick prequel that's supposedly going to tell the story. If you remember from the first movie, they talk about like how he got out. Like, how did he ever get out of being, in the underground anyway? And the one guy that's the bad guy in the movie says, I gave him an impossible task and he achieved it. And the bones he laid that day, or the bodies, are the foundation for the empire we've built, right? So I guess the animated prequel is going to tell that story of the impossible task.
Cool.
Yeah, it sounds
God,
awesome.
I love that.
And Keanu Reeves is going to
actual character,
and he's going to do the voice. So obviously,
fuck yeah! Isn't there like a hotel show, or
there was
like a
there was on Peacock
or something?
Yeah, the Continental show was on Peacock. I did not watch it. It did not get good reviews. Everybody said it was too lame. But Ballerina does come out this summer, and that is like in the world of John Wick. I know Keanu Reeves is in it. It's kind of I know it takes place like during the John Wick series. So that's why he's in it, because he's still, at that point, he was still alive. Spoiler alert.
Yeah. It's got the girl from Blade Runner 2049.
Yeah, Ana de Armas is the main character, and from the first reactions, it sounds like she kicks about as much ass as John Wick does. So
nice.
So that'll be cool. But that was the biggest stuff out of Cinemacon so far. So a couple other things. We got a cast announcement reveal for Avengers Doomsday, which comes out next year. That was a big deal last week. So I want to talk about that. Obviously, Marvel held everybody hostage for like 6 hours and released a new name like every 15 minutes over the course of 6 hours. So like people kept popping back into social media every once in a while to see who was in it. So we've got a lot of the current MCU got, Anthony Mackie's Captain America. The new Fantastic Four is going to be in it. The old X-Men are going to be in it, like Patrick Stewart, Ian McKellen, Rebecca Romaine, like James Marsden, Kelsey Grammer, Alan Cummings, Nightcrawler. Like that was the one I was most excited about.
Yeah, same.
So
I think getting I texted you the second I saw it, was like, oh my God, that means we're going to get another opening White House hallway montage scene, hopefully esque, with Nightcrawler back. One of the coolest opening scenes to a movie ever.
Here's hoping. That is a pretty awesome scene.
I also think what they'll do is they'll give us what X-Men 97 did with Cyclops. They're going to give Cyclops like the falling out of the plane, epic landing moment type thing.
We need a comic accurate James Marsden Cyclops, like a leader, not a whiny ass, like we need the leader version. So obviously
he gets like jacked for it and like goes full actual Cyclops.
He will. Yeah, I want the blue and yellow suit. I don't give a shit. Let's do it.
It'll look great with Gambit.
It looks so cool. Yeah, Channing Tatum's Gambit's coming back. Real interested to see how they play all that out. But just more stuff to get excited. And obviously, Robert Downey Jr. is Dr. Doom. So we'll see how all that plays out. I think we'll get a lot of questions answered when Fantastic Four comes out this summer.
Yeah, I agree. That's probably accurate.
Just a couple other things in the TV world. Invincible season 3 has come and gone already. They've already done the season finale. I don't know. You're a big Invincible fan. I don't think we ever talk about Invincible.
Well, I've seen the first season. I haven't seen the second season.
That show fucking rocks, man. And season 3 was season 2 for me was like, okay, I'll watch it. I don't think we ever talked about it on here. Season 3 fucking rocked, and the season finale was amazing. It was like a 40-minute fight scene, basically. The entire finale was. It was so great. Anyway, and it's obviously a very graphically violent show, like hardcore. So, they're not afraid to kill people either.
That was what interested me. Yeah. It was kind of like The Boys. Like the first episode really fucking kicks that show off. What? So nice. I'll have to jump back in and catch up.
That came out. Reacher season 3 came out on Prime already. That's already come and gone. I've watched that. It rocked. It was based off of one of the books I read. Loved it. Alan Ritchson's badass, making Batman. Like, let's just make it happen.
I have been watching. I haven't finished it, but I've been watching the new episodes and some behind the scenes stuff. He was talking about how like he was very like dissatisfied with season 2 and that he thought there could have been more action. They could have pushed the envelope more. So he was like, we were very intentional with this season of like doing some cool shit. So I liked it.
And then one that I know you've watched, at least part of it, Daredevil Born Again is currently running on Disney Plus. There's 7 of the 9 episodes have already come out. I don't know how many of you watched. I've watched all 7.
I'm not fully caught up, but I've watched the first, I think, 4. I had to go back and rewatch the second episode because it was hard to get through the second. It was like a roadblock for me.
You're right. So the first episode started off with a bang with the big fight scene between him and Bullseye. And then we kind of got like a time jump, like a 1 year later kind of deal. A lot more behind the scenes stuff, a little bit of courtroom drama. And that's kind of where 2, 3, and 4 go, right? Are kind of there. Yep. And then 5's like its own standalone thing. And then 6 is really where things take off. And so 6 and 7 had a lot more action and stuff in them. I like it. It's very well done. It's, that first season of the Netflix Daredevil was such a banger.
Yeah. Yep.
It's hard to compete with that, but this is probably the best one since the first one on Netflix. Like it's probably better than 2 and 3 were. I'm pretty happy with what they've done with it.
I talked with one of my buddies about it because we went to Comic-Con together and we had like a 2-hour drive, and that was one of the things we were talking about. So I don't remember if we talked about it, but like apparently like this season is like a Frankenstein show. Like they had filmed like essentially the whole season and then scrapped most of it and went back and did reshoots and brought in new characters and rewrote a ton of like the story. And so that is why some of it feels very like, what is going on? For me, when spoilers, first episode opens up with that bullseye fight, I was like, this fight is super badass, but this is very The Flash CG. Like, why does this look so bad?
It looked weird. It was a weird art style for sure, and I couldn't tell if they were doing it intentionally or not, because I'm with you there.
So one of the reasons for that was because that part was actually at one of the end reshoots, and they at that point have already spent their entire budget, but they wanted to put that in the movie or in the show. So, which I'm glad they did, because it was a fucking kick-ass way to start.
Yep.
But just there was weird stuff with like not wanting to bring back any of the characters. They wanted to kill a certain character before the season even started, so they weren't going to be in it. Like, it's a whole bunch of weird stuff, but I'm liking it.
Yeah.
Regardless. So
yeah, it does get good. And D'Onofrio's Kingpin is awesome.
So good.
He's so freaking good. So there was all that. Just a couple other things real quick, just because I know you're going to talk about Comic-Con and stuff. So I went to they just had a QuadCon like toy fair here in town like 2 weeks ago. And one of my favorite artists who we've talked about on the show before, Jamie Coker, was there. So it was cool. So I have my Ninja Turtles like horror movie icon one, but I got his newest one, which is like Aliens.
Cool.
Like an Aliens homage, which is pretty neat.
That's sick.
So I had to get that. I did get a couple others too. Like I got a Ghost Rider print, which is pretty neat.
Sick.
I got.
Now you're going to need the figure and the bike to go with that.
I know, right? And then he did an original Bebop and Rocksteady, which I got. Which pretty cool.
Those are sick.
Cool. Yeah, they're pretty neat.
Nice.
So, and then one other thing. So it is the 35th anniversary of the original Ninja Turtles movie, which I know you're fully aware of. So they had a special on Kevin Eastman's website where they were selling autographed copies of the soundtracks for $35. So they didn't have the first one. They had to get Secret of the Ooze because they were already sold out of the first one.
That is amazing. Vinyl. Look at the artwork on that.
The artwork's great. It's got a personalized sign and authenticated Kevin Eastman print with it.
That's so cool.
And
that was even at QuadCon?
No, this wasn't. This was on his website.
Gotcha.
Yeah. And then the album itself, I just want to show it real quick because it's so freaking cool. Because obviously, Secret of the Ooze is a different tone, but look at this vinyl,
dude. That's
so
awesome.
So I got a frame for this that'll hold the artwork, and then the vinyl like sits next to it, so it'll be
nice,
all in a frame. So I thought that was pretty cool.
That's fucking awesome.
Okay, I talked for like 20 minutes. It's all you.
That's great. No, I love that. I'm glad you brought up the Turtles. It's such a cool thing. Greatest freaking turtle movie ever.
And they sell these for $90 normally, so they had them for $35. I was like, I gotta freaking get it. Yeah.
Oh. Yeah. I can't remember if we had started the pod at the time that I got like a vinyl set of, they did like an 8-bit video game style of the original movies, like soundtrack, and it came with a ton of art. Actually, this shredder, can't really tell if that's shredder, but this shredder here is that's one of the vinyl covers. So cool. Love that. For me, actually had kind of 2 back-to-back weeks with trips. One, my wife had her yearly dance competition where we traveled the country to some random city. She does dance stuff the whole week, and her girls win all these awards. And I go to like comic book stores or toy stores. And this one was in Chicago. I went to essentially every comic book store and collectible store in the city and just had a blast. One of the places that I'll mention that to me was like probably the best toy store I've ever been in. It's called Quake Collectibles. There's two locations. The one in the Chicago area is the place to go. The one kind of west is not good. Don't go there. But this one in downtown is just like spilling at the seams with like figures from any of nerddom that you've ever thought of or wanted. And because this guy's store is so filled with Marvel Legends, Star Wars The Black Series, toys from our childhood, but also new stuff, hot toys, like anything and everything, McFarlane stuff, because he has so much like inventory, he's like just haggling people with stuff. And I got things that were like $100 figures for like $13, like some crazy, crazy stuff. I got this new Luke Skywalker, which I should have brought it over to the video. That's like my new prized possession figure of this. It's a little bit larger than the normal 7 inches. He's kind of like a 1/10 figure, but it's like a mini Hot Toys. So cool. Quake Collectibles in Chicago. Go check it out. And then the weekend after that, myself and my good buddy Matt Bojanski, we went to Kansas City for their Planet Con, which is their Comic Con. And we drove up, caught the second half of Saturday, and then we're there basically till close on Sunday. Ton of fun. There was a ton of artists there this year. Like, seemed like more than normal. I did get some things from the Alex Ross booth, which of course I didn't bring over to the video, but I picked up cool Alex Ross stuff. And then I also was like, I need to get my Superman stuff set because I've got a lot of figures that have come in. I did finally get, I'll turn my camera a little bit. I did finally get my Superman set up going. And this Christopher Reeve Superman art was like, that was like the prize possession that I bought at Comic-Con. So there was a ton of celebrities there per usual. No one really particular that I'm like, oh my God, I haven't seen them at a con or I need to go talk with them. But cons are always cool just to see some of the random people that are there. Like freaking like Kimberly from the Power Rangers was there.
The Pink Ranger.
Yes. And Matt and I could not stop talking about how tiny she is. She's like 3 feet tall.
Oh, wow.
She was there. Bo Katan was there.
Yeah.
And she's like super popular right now in the Star Wars world. It was so weird. She had
Katie
nobody.
Sackhoff? Yeah.
Yes. She had nobody in line. Like you could walk right up and talk.
Because all the dudes were intimidated.
Yeah. So it was like, that was kind of weird. I will say one of the cool things that happened was, of course, as I'm talking about him, I can't think of his name off the top of my head because I'm an idiot, but Gollum, Smeagol,
Andy Serkis. Yeah.
One Andy Serkis was there. And the first day that we got there, as we were getting ready to leave, as they were closing down, which I don't think I've been in when they ended a show, all of a sudden, freaking Gollum, Smeagol, was on the loudspeaker above throughout the whole Comic-Con, basically telling everyone to get the hell out of there and that they were closing for the day. So like that was cool, him doing that. And then like the whole place kind of broke out and took like into applause because they were like, all right, that's pretty fucking cool.
That's pretty cool.
But yeah, it was a ton of fun. Got a lot of art. I got a really cool Bat Family art poster that I picked up. I did see Jamie Coker was there. I did not pick up anything of his, primarily because I have a lot of his art, and not that I don't love it. Like this shredder right here is Jamie Coker, but I'm like, I need to diversify a little bit of like my artists and things that I've got. So anyways, yeah, Comic-Con was great. Quake Collectibles was great. That's pretty much, I guess. There's been a ton of comic books that have come out as well. We talked about Hush 2 finally dropped.
Yep.
So much stuff has kind of come out over the last month that it's like hard to think about what to talk about. But yeah, lots of stuff in the nerd world. BT Dubs saw that Superman had another test screening and that it went really well. Heard that, saw some behind the scenes stuff of Lanterns that was finally filming. And then also, we didn't talk about this in our or in the earlier part of the 6 Midnight, but there was apparently some screening, some test footage of the new dynamic duo, like Robin movie that they showed at CinemaCon. So it's like you said, it's like Kubo. So like,
yeah, it's like puppetry and CGI, like stop motion kind of deal. So yeah, I would from everything, like the descriptions I read, it sounded like Kubo. like that animation style with the stop motion. So, which is cool. I think it's pretty neat, especially, and it's a Nightwing Robin movie, right?
I think it's like Nightwing and Red Hood, but I don't know if they're gonna do like both former Robins, so they're gonna do like flashbacks and future. No one really knows.
Nobody knows.
But I did see that like the words they used to describe it was like gorgeous. And like it looked beautiful. Like amazing. So
yeah.
Also, I think Supergirl finished filming as well. So Supergirl movie is the next DCU movie that's coming out next year.
And that's the movie where we should get our first look at Lobo, right? Isn't that the...
Yep.
Jason Momoa's Lobo. I mean, if there was ever anybody played, like, destined to play Lobo, it's probably Momoa.
The book is, I guess, a really popular... I haven't read it, but it's very popular. I think it's like Supergirl of Tomorrow or something. I can't remember, but it's a very specific book that feels... funny enough, very Guardians of the Galaxy. Like it's
shocker,
like space spanning, and kind of funny, and of course James Gunn would do that. So, anyways, nice. All right, I'm glad we talked about we talked about the Avengers movie. Glad we got that in.
Yep.
I think what else we missed.
We could have talked about a lot more. I mean, a lot's happened in the last month. There's a ton. There's new trailers. There was the Oscars happened. Like, we could have talked about that. You know, Anora was the big winner of the night. I have not seen it yet. I'm ashamed of myself, but, you know, I haven't even had time. So, what?
That movie was barf that movie got everything, and Dune got snubbed out of everything.
Dune got screwed because it came out in February.
Yeah.
There's nothing you can do about it. That's Warner Brothers' fault.
Agreed. I fell for freaking April Fool's yesterday.
You sent it to me.
Of like Danny was not going to be directing the Messiah, and I'm like, what? They can do this.
April Fool's is a bullshit day where people don't trust a damn thing anybody says. My son came home and it was like a homework. That fucking kid can sell it too. Comes home with a word search and he's like, Dad, I got to get this done for my homework. Can you please help me? It's late and I got to get to bed and stuff. And I'm like, yeah. Just give me the damn thing. Give me the pencil. And it's like a spring word search and like none of the fucking words are in it. And I'm like, what is happening? And it was.
That's awesome.
Yeah. Reagan even fell for it. And I'm like, he's like, April Fool's, like 9:00 last night. And I'm like, you son of a.
That's pretty cool.
It was pretty funny.
I'll have to tell Steph about that. She'll think.
Oh, and then they had did you see like the fake from Cinemacon, World's Finest, Batman and Superman together? Did you see that one come out?
No, I didn't.
Yeah, bullshit. Yeah, I saw that and I was like, oh, hell yeah. And I was like, Pattinson and Cornsweet together. And I'm like, dude, that's. Oh my God. And then I was like, wait a minute. And, shit.
April Fool's bullshit. Damn it.
Anyway,
all right.
But that's enough. We're already almost an hour in, so let's get to our. You need to see this movie, the 2002 post-apocalyptic fantasy action film, Reign of Fire. Reign of Fire was directed by Rob Bowman, written by Greg Shabbat, Kevin Peterka, who also did the story and the screenplay with Matt Greenberg. The cast includes Matthew McConaughey as Denton Van Zandt, Christian Bale as Quinn Abercrombie, Isabella Scorupco. Yeah, I know. I didn't know that either. I'm glad they kept that under wraps. Isabella Scorupco as Alex Jensen and Gerard Butler as Creedy. The movie was made on a $60 million budget. It recouped $80 million. And was therefore considered a box office failure because it didn't make enough money, which led to it not having a sequel.
It's so just the star power that was in that movie that was like prior to them being mega stars is so. It makes the movie so cool looking back now.
Yeah, because Gerard Butler's a throwaway character in the movie. He's like,
he's a little nerdy dude.
Christian Bale's best friend, he's the BFF. That's it.
Yes. Little did we know he was going to be like beefcake, jacked King Leonidas in the future.
Yeah. It was some star power for sure. One of Matthew McConaughey's most like out of character roles because of how he is, and he's like this bald, burly bearded, jacked, crazy man.
He looks nothing like Matthew McConaughey.
Right.
Like, obviously he's a very recognizable actor with his voice and how he talks, but like went years. If you would have been like, who do you know the guy from like How to Lose a Guy in 10 Days was that crazy villain character from the Dragon movie? No way. Are those the same people?
Right.
Anyways.
Yeah, listen. It's a hell of a movie. It is a freaking blast. Ha ha, see what I did there? But it's
nice.
It's just a ton of fun. It's it's post-apocalyptic. It's bleak. A ton of people die in this movie. But it's fucking Christian Bale and Matthew McConaughey fighting dragons in like 2020. You know, it's a wild ride. But I made my kids watch it with me, and they both really enjoyed it too. It's a fun movie.
Nice.
Yeah, they did. They liked it. So
I think the trailer, if like just from what I was looking at, like the trailer, I think kind of threw people off, which was a big reason why it wasn't like recepted well. The trailer made it look like it was going to be like this epic dragon battle, like massive like dragon war between armies and dragons. And it was not that. It did have obviously cool moments in it.
Yeah.
It was a little bit more low key and a little bit more specific. But I fucking love it. It's a cool ass movie.
It's a cool ass movie. Basic premise of the movie, we can get through this part quick so we can get to the rest. But basic premise of the movie is like starts off with Christian Bale's a kid. It's like 2008. His mom works construction in London. They're doing some underground drilling. They find this chamber. Christian Bale wanders in, and it's a dragon, and it's a dragon, and the dragon comes out and kills his mom, and then it fast forwards, to 12 years later, and they're like holed up in this castle, like with all these like mines and caves around it, and most of the world is dead. Mm-hmm. These dragons have turned the world to ash. They eat the ash. That's how they sustain. They like burn stuff, and then they consume the ash, which is, it doesn't sound like you're getting your caloric intake, but whatever. And he's, like leading this encampment of survivors to, like they plant crops, they harvest, and there's people, starving. And there's a big scene at the beginning where this one guy's going to go out and he's going to get a bunch of fruits and vegetables early, and Christian Bale's like, the hell you are, like that's going to ruin the crop. We need the seeds. We need to be able to plant again next year. If you take them too early, we can't do that. And the guy goes anyway. And then of course a dragon shows up, and Christian Bale and some of the other people have to go and save him. And then a couple people die, and blah, 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 blah. It gives you this idea of like a post-apocalyptic, what's going on. So it turns out that like these dragons were dormant. They're the main species of the earth. They're what wiped out the dinosaurs, right? And they lie dormant after they've burned the world until the world rises again and there's more life and things to burn, to consume before they go back into hibernation. So that's the gist of what has happened in this movie, right? Like that's kind of where we're at.
Super cool, like concept and just in general. Like I think that's what kind of got me excited when I was young when this movie came out. I was like, what if in our current times, like a bunch of dragons just showed up in modern time and like destroyed the world, and like the armies had to try to take them out. It's like, that is cool. Sprinkle in jacked, crazy Matthew McConaughey with a freaking axe.
Yeah.
Sign me up.
So they're basically like there's a couple cool scenes in it, and that they don't really drive the plot, but like there's this awesome scene where Gerard Butler and Christian Bale are like literally acting out Empire Strikes Back for a group of kids.
Yeah.
And it's freaking amazing because it's like there's no electricity. Like these kids have never seen these movies, and they're acting it out, and it's hilarious, like the way they're telling the story of, Luke, I am your father, and they changed the names and stuff, but
and all the kids are like,
Yeah.
Like it's like their actual reaction to
probably like people when
Empire
they saw
Strikes
that
Back.
movie for the first time, like how they actually reacted.
Yeah.
So that was kind of neat. So anyway, yeah, then this group of American soldiers show up, and they've got tanks and jeeps, and they got helicopters, and they want to stop at the castle to refuel. And Christian Bale's like, no, you need to leave us alone. We don't want any part of what you're doing. The dragons will, if you try to attack the dragons, they'll come and they'll annihilate all of us. And it sounds like that's kind of how the dragons are. Like, if you go after them, then they go and find out where they can smell where you came from, and then they annihilate everybody where you came from, basically. Matthew McConaughey, like, has a dragon. Does he has a claw or a tooth or something? And he's like, we figured out, like, ways to kill him. And, and nobody's like, no, that never happens. Nobody kills dragons, blah, 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 blah.
Yeah. Yep.
So Christian Bale lets it.
Christian Bale is very much on the side of like, there is no possible way to kill the dragons. Like, nothing anyone could ever do would ever kill a dragon. So, don't ever try.
Don't do it. But there is like, he finally lets him in because he believes him, and and so that's when you find out. This is where the plot gets driven. Basically, what it is they've killed several dragons in America, and they've realized they're all female. Like, every single dragon they've killed is female. And they have traced back the fact that there's one bull that basically is the father to all dragons. And he is in London. And that's why all these Americans came across the ocean to stop the dragons, right? They feel like if they kill the bull, then the other ones will all just die off, right? Because then they won't have any way to carry on. So Christian Bale's like, absolutely not. Like, you can't leave here and go after him. Like, he'll find out, and he'll come back here and he'll kill everybody, right? Mm-hmm. And they're like, well, we're going to do it whether. And they get in this big old fight scene. It's actually kind of a cool fight scene. I looked up, and the fun fact is, like, it's some of those punches, like, they weren't pulling their punches when they were fighting each other.
Were, like, actually hitting
they were like, Christian Bale really, like, headbutted Matthew McConaughey right in the face and took him down. And
shocked.
Yeah.
Shocked.
I read something too that said Christian Bale, like, famously, like, has weight fluctuations in all the roles he's in. Like, he's the machinist, and he weighs like 130 pounds, and he's Batman, and he weighs like 200 pounds. And then he was, who else was he? Like, he was Dick Cheney, and he gained a bunch of weight, right?
Oh yeah, he got big.
Yeah, he does. And then, like, he did The Fighter, and he lost a bunch, and he got, anyway, so he was doing this, and he originally had planned on being super scrawny for this movie, because he thought it's post-apocalyptic, it's food scarce, there's no way this guy's got muscle mass. And then McConaughey just showed up jacked as hell, and so Christian Bale's like, I gotta fight this guy in this movie. I can't be nobody's gonna believe that I can even fight with them if I'm all skinny and stuff. So he had to gain some weight and get jacked as well. So I thought that was kind of funny.
Yeah, I saw that too. I thought that was cool. It's very Christian Bale. Like, nobody's gonna out-jack me.
Yeah,
giggity.
The biggest. So anyway, Matthew McConaughey and his troops, they end up encountering a dragon while they're still at the castle, and they show them, like, how they do it. So basically, they take the helicopter up and they skydive, and they use nets to pin the dragon down, and then they kill it when they get it to the ground. Awesome. Dude. Sounds super cool. Fails miserably. Anyway, so a couple of the guys die, and then so Christian Bale's got to, like, help get the sensor up or whatever, and he ends up having to be the bait for the dragon, and he's like riding this. Is it a bike? Was it a bicycle or a motorcycle? I don't even remember.
I thought it was a horse. Wasn't it a horse?
It was a horse. The other guy was on a motorcycle. So Christian Bale's on a horse.
Yeah. He got, like,
that's right. He got destroyed. He got exploded. So Christian Bale's on this horse, and he, like, comes over this ridge, and Matthew McConaughey, like, shoots this fucking giant ass harpoon right at him, and he goes down, and it kills the dragon. So that was the first time they'd ever seen, like, a dragon actually die. And like
that, the archangels, I think, are, like, such a cool concept, and though they fail miserably, like, fucking, they talk about, like, their life expectancy is, like, of an archangel is, like, 30 seconds or something. Like, they fucking jump out of helicopters and attack dragons while parachuting with metal nets. Like, fucking crazy. And it looks cool. I thought the CG was going to be horrible, but like I ended up enjoying it. Like I just like that scene is so cool. Them like skydiving and trying to fucking they don't know where the dragon is because like they're going through the clouds and stuff, and it like comes out of nowhere and totally fucks them up. But like the concept of them and how they talk about the archangels,
it fails miserably, but it sounds awesome.
Yeah, it sounds like a great idea for a movie, but it's probably not going to work. So,
so anyway, so Matthew McConaughey and the Americans, they leave. They go to London. The fucking bull dragon kills everybody except Matthew McConaughey, like hides. I didn't understand that. He doesn't seem like the kind of character that's gonna hide, right? But he ends up hiding or something. He gets underneath and whatever and kills everybody else. So it's him and the blonde, right, are the only ones left of their entire freaking troop or whatever. Mm-hmm. And the dragon smells where they came from and goes back to the castle and like kills a ton of people, right? Like decimates their entire village or whatever, right? And Gerard Butler dies, like a ton of people die. And so Matthew McConaughey comes back. They're all beaten and wounded. You know, it's him and the girl, and Christian Bale agrees to go with him to like, they gotta do it now. They gotta finish this thing off. And so there's like a epic cat and mouse around London trying to, you know, find this dragon or hide from it and then get to it. And Matthew McConaughey does this like Leroy Jenkins move with his axe.
Yes. Climbs a giant tower, jumps down over this massive dragon with his axe. It's a cool visual.
It's super cool.
It was used in the trailer too, which I think is what got a lot of people excited because they were like, well, that looks fucking awesome.
It just does not work.
Yeah, it does not work at all.
Yeah. He's like, Leroy Jenkins. And he just gets annihilated. Yeah. But Christian Bale is able to, like, does he have a crossbow with like a exploding arrow on it? And he fires it right into the dragon's mouth when it's about to breathe its fire, and it just fucking kills it. So,
yes. The way they talked about this movie being like how the dragons like light their flame was like it's kind of like a torch almost, like
they based it on
fuel comes and then they light it up.
Based it on the way a cobra. It's the design of it was a cross between a cobra and some type of bug. And how they like did their venom was how they based this off of.
They combine it. But the way that they were talking about that this movie like basically inspired a ton of other like how dragons were done in movies, like how that their flame was created. So I thought that was kind of cool.
Or in books that are really popular right now.
Yeah, that's true. Fourthling is a thing.
Yeah.
Well, what book are you reading right now, Howard?
I don't read any of that smut.
Oh, okay. Okay. We all know you're fapping to Zayden Ryerson.
Hilarious.
Shout out. Yeah, I mean, you just basically gave us essentially to the end of the movie, right?
That's it. Yeah, it's done. Yeah.
It's the dragons completely decimate and wipe out their entire army platoon, the castle, but then Matthew McConaughey and Christian Bale with their Captain Planet powers combined can go and take this thing out just on foot. Like it's nothing.
Sounds legit.
Yes. But it's a cool fucking movie.
Super cool.
If you haven't watched it in a long time, go watch this. It's actually better than I remember it.
Yes.
I remember thinking this was a cool movie, but as a kid, I was one of those that was kind of disappointed. So I thought the trailer said it was going to be something else. And it was, I don't say boring, but as a kid, it like I didn't understand like the boring stuff and the story that's going on.
Right. This is probably a movie that they should have done less like village plants and crops and blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
Blah, and just done more like fucking shit up with dragons.
Yeah.
Like
dude.
we didn't want the like newspaper clip montage of time going by and the dragons destroying the earth. We want to see the dragons destroy the earth. Like that's what we paid for. Right. So
yes. Agreed. The filming of this, kind of interesting fun fact, as they were filming, and of course I had all this down like a month ago when we originally were planning on doing this episode. They were filming, there was like an outbreak of like a disease where they
like a hand, foot, and mouth or something.
Yeah, so like they were like the whole country was like shut down and quarantined, and they were
Ireland. They filmed in Ireland, by the way.
Yes, they were supposed to like they had to get like special like approval to be able to keep filming, and like they basically all of the cast and crew were like quarantined to this area while they were filming. They couldn't go anywhere because of fucking hand, foot, and mouth going around. So I thought that was super interesting. So
it was, and then they filmed like in like the Wicklow Mountains and like some old mines that they said they could film at as long as they made sure to leave everything as it was. So they literally had to tear down every single thing they built as soon as they were done filming it because they had to leave it just like it was. So
wild.
Yeah, cool. It was pretty interesting.
Kind of
and one last fun fact before we wrap up. So the actor Jack Gleason, who's probably most famously known as King Joffrey on Game of Thrones, like the one everybody hated so much, he had a small part. He's one of the small children in the Empire Strikes Back scene, which is fascinating. He's
cool.
And then a couple years later in Batman Begins with Christian Bale, he's the kid on the balcony.
Oh yeah, he throws them the little fucking like night vision goggles or something like that.
Yeah. Nice. So I thought that was kind of a little interesting thing. He was one of the kids in the.
Did not know that. Cool. Love that. That whole movie is filled with actors that we didn't know at the time were going to be bigger later on.
Yeah, the whole freaking main cast is that way. So listen, it's a lot of fun. Like it's, again, there's things that could have been better. It's got some slow parts. It's got some exposition that nobody really gives two shits about. But at the same time, like it's the action's cool. The dragons look great. You get Matthew McConaughey and Christian Bale both just fucking chewing scenes with dialogue. Like,
dude,
and Matthew McConaughey's really like, it's kind of out of his wheelhouse, the role he plays in this. It's a little different. So I good solid 7.5 for me.
Oh yeah. You mentioned, like, I don't think we really did a good job of, like, Matthew McConaughey's character is so, like, unhinged, like, villain, even though he's, like, not a villain, but he's kind of a villain at some, like, during some parts. He plays it great, like a man possessed with a mission, and no one's going to get in his way. So much so that he's going to fucking take an axe through the sky after this dragon. Yeah, 7.5. I probably would have. I look back at this movie very fondly, but I will say, like I said, watching this, I liked it or thought it was better this time around than when I originally watched it. So give it a 7.5. That's a perfect number for it.
Yeah, it's not great, but it's really fun and it's enjoyable to watch.
Yeah, it's a cool concept of a movie, and it's worth the watch.
Yeah, definitely. So that is 2000 Reign of Fire. And that takes us to my favorite segment. There can be only 5. So we went dragon movies. Top 5 dragon movies. There's a lot of movies. Over the place, I know it is. And here's the deal: is like there's a lot of different kinds of movies with dragons in them, right? Like there's but I went with like movies where a dragon is a central point to the story, or it's a bigger character, right? Like, I saw like a list and it was like Lord of the Rings, The Two Towers, like the Nazgul dragons were introduced in this. And I'm like, no, like that would be number 1 on the list if I'm counting it, because it's a great movie.
It's such a great movie. Yeah. Some of the lists were wild, like all over the place, that you're like, that's not a dragon movie. Like, I guess there's a dragon in it, but that's not a dragon movie.
I even went so much, like I was borderline with Harry Potter and the Goblet of Fire, because there's that one scene with the dragons that's important. But I decided I'm going to leave it off because I don't feel like that's fair, you know?
Yeah.
So I left it off. Anyway.
With that, all right. I get it.
Here are my top 5 dragon movies. Okay.
What you got?
One honorable mention. I put The Hobbit. And I'm not talking about Peter Jackson's Hobbit movies. I'm talking about the 1970s Rankin and Bass animated Hobbit movie that is terrifying if you're a kid, because the animation style, the spiders and the goblins are fucking terrifying. I don't care what anybody says.
Scary AF.
Yeah. So that was, I had just an honorable mention. I was going to, like, Desolation of Smaug could go in there too, but, I like the animated one actually better. So number 5. The Never-Ending Story.
Dope.
The Luck Dragon.
That.
Falcor, the Luck Dragon is such a main part of that. I went with The Never-Ending Story at number 5.
Love that.
At number 4, I did Shrek. I had Shrek at number 4.
I would not have thought of that.
It was borderline, but I feel like the dragon in that movie is a central character. And obviously there's a love thing with her and the donkey. So
yeah, for sure.
I went with Shrek. I put Shrek at number 4.
I like that. I'll take it.
And I didn't really expect to have as many animated movies on here originally, but I do.
Do what you gotta do.
Is what it is. And number 3,
I do.
But I do. At number 3, I had Mulan at number 3.
Dude, I looked at Mulan and was like, fucking Mushu is good.
He's great. And that's an underrated Disney movie. I don't care what anybody says. Mulan is awesome, especially the I'll Make a Man Out of You musical number. Anyway.
Outstanding. I agree with that.
And then at number 2, I had Reign of Fire.
Love that.
It's an epic dragon movie. I saw a lot of lists. Like, I saw one that had, do you remember Dragonheart with Dennis Quaid and Sean Connery's the voice of the dragon? Like,
yeah.
And that might be on your list. I saw a lot of people have that like at number 1. And I was like, it was okay, but it wasn't like, I never thought that movie was great. That's just my opinion. So I didn't have it on my list. But at number 1, I just did a franchise. I had 3 movies on there. It is How to Train Your Dragon. 1, 2, and 3 are number 1. They're all fantastic.
Good.
It should be talked about. I think we actually mentioned this on an episode before. I don't think it gets the love it deserves, and it should be mentioned in the pantheon of greatest trilogies of all time. Like, it needs to be up there because of how good each individual movie is. Most trilogies have at least one movie, and it doesn't at all.
Yeah,
they're all 3
really good.
Just epic and great. And it's one cohesive 3-part story.
And I feel like that franchise is universally loved. Like there is like it's one of those things that for whatever reason, no matter what, there isn't anybody that's like, oh, those movies aren't good, or like they should have done this because of that. Like just the videos of people posting of getting to go to the live action premiere or like sneak peek today. It was like people love How to Train Your Dragon. So.
Well, there's a new park opening at Universal Orlando that's got a How to Train Your Dragon section to it. Like that's how much people are investing in this now.
Yeah, there's behind like people filming them like test flying like dragons. So I think that's actually a good point. It's pretty cool. Nice. Love that. Love your list. There were some movies on there that I don't have on my list, but I definitely looked at and thought that could or should easily be on this list, like Mulan for sure. Okay, love that. Let's jump into mine. I do have one honorable mention. It is a terrible Rotten Tomatoes score movie, but for whatever reason, it just scratched an itch for me that I really wanted a sequel we never got. But I got Aragon. I don't know if you ever saw it, but I
did. I saw it. I didn't read the books, but I saw the original, the movie. Yeah.
Yeah. It was like a movie that they clearly were setting up for like a franchise, and it did not do well, so they did not ever make any others. But I liked it movie when I was a kid. I thought it was good. So
it was supposed to be like the next Harry Potter. That was what everybody was trying to do, was the next fantasy franchise. And the books were popular, but the movie was dog shit. So
it was like Harry
comparatively
Potter,
so.
Dragons.
Yeah.
No, I think you're right on the money there. So cool. All right, number 5. We won't talk much about it because we've been doing a whole episode. I got Reign of Fire. It's just usually I don't put movies that we cover for the episode in my list, but it's such a cool movie in terms of like dragon movies. if I was walking down the street and someone were like, what are some cool dragon movies? It'd be like 1 or 2 on my list to mention.
You're right.
So got Reign of Fire at number 5. Number 4, unconventional dragon, but dragon nonetheless. Never Ending Story. I've got it on my list too. It's such a great movie. Have you seen recently the like viral video at a Comic-Con of like the Never Ending Story like booth?
Yeah.
They've had.
Did you see that at PlanetCon?
Dude, I saw
you
it
sent that
in person. Like the week after this video went viral, like they have this Never Ending Story section set up with little moments from the movie. You could ride the dragon. You can try to sadly pull the horse out of
Artax out of the bullshit.
Yeah.
Trauma.
There's just a viral video of people showing that of like, want to relive your childhood trauma, and then like the next weekend I saw it in person. It was like, oh my god, this is so cool. But
I remember when I first watched that with my kids, and Reagan was a little bit older, Des was pretty young, and like they're like, he's gonna get the horse out, right? And I'm like, and they're like, no, and I'm like,
this is a learning moment.
This is a moment you need to see. Yeah. And next we're gonna watch Turner. Yeah. And the next movie we're gonna watch is Turner and Hooch.
God. Oh my god. Old Yeller next. Love it. Okay, there's a matching movie for us. Never Ending Story. I had it at number 4. I think you had it at number 5. And then number 3, I kept taking this off the list and putting it back on because I think people didn't end up liking the movie as much as I did. I think it's great. I've got The Hobbit, The Desolation of Smaug. Just because
I was this close to having it on there.
Benedict Cumberbatch as Smaug is cool. Like badass. That's a cool casting. Yes. It's essentially the primary motivation of the movie. Like he's holding down the mountain. They're trying to get in and take it. I like that movie. The Hobbit movie. I like the Lord of the Rings original trilogy much better, but I think those Hobbit movies don't get the credit they deserve. If that makes sense.
Well, they were there. Listen, if they would have come out first, they would have been viewed a lot differently, I think.
Yeah.
You know, even if they were the same quality they ended up being made, and then Lord of the Rings came out afterwards, I think they'd be viewed differently. I think it's because they came out afterwards and everybody expected Lord of the Rings from The Hobbit.
Yeah, but for sure.
But there's not. I mean, they took one book and made 3 movies out of it. I don't.
Yep. That's why I think primarily people get shit because they've stretched it out and there's a lot of CG as opposed to a lot of the practical stuff. But anyways, I've got number 3, The Desolation of Smaug. Cool fucking movie. Big giant dragon, Benedict Cumberbatch. Yes, please. Number 2, I have a franchise of which I also have the number 2 movie as like my main one, but the franchise itself, How to Train Your Dragon. What a freaking great movie franchise. Number 2 is my favorite of the 3 because Gerard Butler has like one of the most memorable, like emotionally powerful scenes of any movie, and it's in an animation movie or animated movie. His wife had died and passed away and was gone, and that you end up finding out that she is, in fact, spoiler, still alive. And when she and him are finally like reunited, she thinks that he's going to be furious that she is still alive and that she didn't find her way back. And as she's like trying to make up like excuses and talk her way out of it, he just like walks up to her and like puts his hand on her cheek and says something like, "You're as more beautiful than the day I lost you." And it's like so powerful. It makes you want to tear up. Such a great scene. But How to Train Your Dragon, number 2 is the best of the 3. But all 3 of them are great. I am very excited for the live action one. And then I've got my number 1 dragon movie, and I struggled to not jump through the screen and smack you silly for saying rude things about it.
Didn't say rude.
1996 Dragonheart is a fucking awesome movie. Dennis Quaid is a fucking sassy, quippy lead character who's like a bad guy, but he's like a bad guy, but a lovable bad guy, who meets freaking Sean Connery as a dragon. And these two, they originally are trying to kill each other. Dennis Quaid's character is technically a dragon slayer,
right?
Basically, like a mercenary gets hired to kill dragons. And him and Sean Connery, which is a talking dragon, by the way, they come to a standstill of one trying to kill the other. He ends up getting Dennis Quaid in the dragon's mouth, but he's holding his sword in the mouth. So if he closes his mouth to eat him, it will kill. And so they decide that, hey, we could work as a team where I show up to a town to terrorize it. You are there for the town to pay to slay the dragon. We'll pretend that you kill me. You get paid, and then we split the pot, the money. And so it's this Dennis Quaid and this dragon are going around bamboozling towns, faking the dragon's death. It's such a goofy, like, this is so weirdly not real, but it's so funny. Sean Connery's great. It's such a That's So 90s movie. And from my childhood, it's fondly remembered. So it is my number one dragon movie. Screw you for saying that it doesn't deserve to be on here. That's fine. It's fine.
It's okay. Fine. I just didn't think it was great.
You were obviously 40 years older than me, so when you saw it, you're probably an adult. You were like, this is a dumb kid movie. When I saw it, I was a bright-eyed, bushy-tailed 6-year-old, and I thought it was hilarious. I still have the action figure from it of Dennis Quaid.
You with like still have an action figure? I don't believe it.
But yeah, I've got a little tiny Dennis Quaid who came with like a wooden shield with dragon teeth all over it. Still have that thing. Dragonheart, number one movie. Dragon movie ever.
Dragonheart.
All right. I guess that takes us into our final. Was waiting for you to cue it, and then I realized it's me today.
It's your turn.
As we're making pretty good time. We're zipping through this.
Yeah, we're doing pretty good, all things considered. We got through Rain of Fire like super quick. My camera's being stupid.
That's okay. It's trying to focus on your beauty. New posters. Nice.
It's trying to focus on my fucking 48-year-old head, according to you.
Let's jump into our final segment of the pod, our How Rotten Is Your Tomato? We are on episode 76 right now. We have done probably 30 of these, and we still have yet to change the name of that segment. I guess we're just sticking with it.
Yeah, but it's stuck.
This segment is when one of us basically pitches a pair of movies to the other, and they have to guess what the Rotten Tomatoes score was and which one was higher and which one was lower. So it's a ton of fun. Some of them are wacky and all over the place. Some of them are very like, oh, that was an easy one. But I think it's fun to kind of look at these. So I went with kind of a theme of our three main characters from the movie Rain of Fire.
Okay.
And some of their library of films. So I thought there was some good ones on there. So let's start with something fun. Let's go with this first one. I've got 2006's 300, Gerard Butler led, against the year 2000 American Psycho, one Christian Bale's cult classic.
I'm going to say American Psycho's higher. I'm going to say it's higher at like a 68 and 300's like a 55.
American Psycho is higher. And it is a 68% on Rotten Tomatoes. That's rich.
Touchdown.
You just took a opening pitch for a home run. You just Aaron judged me right there. That was crazy. 300 is lower at a 61%.
Okay. The ballpark. Not bad.
I thought that was a little low. That's a great movie.
I agree. I was thinking about it from a critic standpoint, you know.
Mm-hmm.
I think American Psycho is probably higher too, in all actuality, because I think a lot of people didn't understand that movie.
Yeah, I agree. Okay, there's one. Let's jump over. I'm going to jump kind of all around here. Let's jump to 2013's Dallas Buyers Club.
Ooh.
Versus 2010's The Fighter.
Ooh, some award winners. Yeah, they both won Oscars for those movies. Damn, I'm going to say The Fighter's higher. I'll say 91. And I'll say Dallas Buyers Club is like a 88.
The Fighter is lower.
Okay.
At a 91%.
Two. Damn.
How did you do that?
I don't know.
2 in a row. That's pretty crazy. Dallas Buyers Club was a 92%.
Okay. All right.
So just 1% higher. So gotcha, though.
You did.
Higher or lower. So,
man,
that's pretty crazy.
Points,
You're 2 for 2.
Damn.
Yeah. You just fucking, you just like the Yankees this past weekend. They hit 3 straight home runs.
I got some torpedo bats to hit some fucking dingers.
One of those, what are like the Sonic tube bats?
Yeah.
Did I send you that?
The picture where it's like Aaron Judge and these new bats are crazy, and it's like those old school red bat, like barrel.
Fucking great. Or the like Mark McGuire commercial where he's like the Nerf bat, the Vortex bat. Okay, love that. Good for you. You still picked wrong, so suck it. Let's jump over to let's go to a fun one. 2019's How to Train Your Dragon 3.
Okay.
Versus Sing Along Superstar 2016's Sing. Matthew McConaughey led.
Sheesh.
I don't know if you saw Sing, actually.
Yeah, I've seen Sing. Yeah, I like the music's great. I'm going to say How to Train Your Dragon 3 is higher at 82. And Sing is 79.
This is a pretty large discrepancy between movies. But you were pretty goddamn close. How to Train Your Dragon 3 was higher at a 90%.
Oh, good. Okay.
And Sing was considerably lower at a 71%.
Okay.
So you were pretty close in your ballpark. So that's pretty cool. I'm
glad How to Train Your Dragon was actually higher. I thought it would have been. I think the third one's probably the worst of the 3, in my opinion. But the fact that it's a 90, that's still pretty damn good.
For sure. For sure.
But yeah,
when I picked those last 2, I was like, these aren't going to be, these are pretty obvious.
That's like,
but
picking the worst one in that trilogy is like picking the worst in like Nolan's Batman trilogies. Like most people probably will say it's Dark Knight Rises. But again, you're still talking about a movie that's like, it's probably like an 89%. You know what I mean? Like it's still a fucking awesome movie.
For sure. For sure. Okay, I've got 2 more pairs. Which one do I want to save for last? Let's do a fun one. These movies were definitely loved by the critics. We've got 2000 rom-com, The Ugly Truth with Gerard Butler. Did you see that?
No, I don't even know if I've heard of that one.
It's got the lady from, gosh dang it, I should have looked it up.
Is it Katherine Heigl in that one?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep.
All right.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. The Ugly Truth from 2009. I was going to say, she's in the Seth Rogen where he gets her pregnant.
Yeah.
Knocked Up. That's what I was trying to think. She's from Knocked Up. Ugly Truth, 2009. Versus a fucking great movie from what I would say. 2000 Matthew McConaughey led Fool's Gold. Did you see either of those movies?
No, I've never seen either one.
What?
I'll say
they're on TV all the time.
Fool's Gold's higher at a 32, and The Ugly Truth's like a 25.
Ugly Truth is higher.
Oh, okay.
At a 14%.
Oh my God. You weren't kidding. They were beloved by critics.
Fool's Gold, which I'm shocked because I actually really liked this movie. He's like a treasure hunter in the Bahamas, like a treasure diver. Fool's Gold was an 11%.
Oh my gosh.
So was not Matthew McConaughey's best movie, and The Ugly Truth was actually hilarious. Gerard Butler was great in that. Let's go. Last pair here. Last one. I've got badass 3:10 to Yuma versus 2011's The Lincoln Lawyer, Matthew McConaughey led.
Oh, yeah. Boy. Ooh, I'm going to say 3:10 to Yuma's higher. 77.
Oh, hater.
No. That's not. I'm just trying to think of how people would have viewed it. Lincoln Lawyer is lower at a 68.
You were way off in terms of your ratings, but you were right in that 3:10 to Yuma was higher at a 89%.
No shit. I never would have thought the critics would have liked that movie that much.
Dude, freaking Russell Crowe? The Crow?
Ben
Christian
Foster.
Bale?
Ben Foster in that movie is fucking awesome.
That movie is fucking star-studded. I would love to do an episode on that movie. I love that movie. 3:10 to Yuma, list. 89%. It's so fucking good. And then The Lincoln Lawyer was an 83%.
I was surprised.
Which I thought that it was going to actually be higher than that, but still, I know generally, other than Dallas Buyers Club, that's looked at as like McConaughey's best movie.
Oh, Time to Kill, role. Man. Time to Kill.
Oh, I looked at that to put on this list, and I skipped it, but I did stare at it.
Movie.
And was like,
man, I used to watch it when I was younger. Man, I watched that movie all the damn time.
Man,
it's and it's a tough movie to watch, but it's so freaking good.
The time frame of when that movie came out, I wanted to do American Psycho with that, and then I ended up deciding, like, I don't know if he's going to really be into that, so I'll just put 300 instead. But
that had a hell of a cast in it too. It was one of McConaughey's first major roles.
Yep.
And then Sandra Bullock, Samuel L. Jackson, Kevin Spacey, Kiefer Sutherland. Like, what a movie that is.
Yep. Love that. Well, you got a lot. You didn't get a lot, but you hit right on the money
at the beginning, and then I faltered.
That's pretty damn good. I think you only had 2 where you didn't pick the right.
Yeah, I got 3 out of 5.
That's a great job. Yeah, crushed it. Look at you. That's
too bad you didn't have Dragonheart on there, so I could have said 0%.
I'll fucking kill you.
Just kidding. Boy. Oh, you know what I forgot to say earlier is, hey, if you're watching this on YouTube, please go make sure you click that like and subscribe so you get notifications on when new episodes come out. Make sure you click that bell. If you're not watching us on YouTube, you can find us on one of many podcast networks such as Spotify, Audible, Apple, iHeartRadio, among many others. You can also see some of our short clips and videos on social media at Movie Dads Pod on Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok. Forgot to do that at the beginning, but I got it at the end.
Yeah, go in there and Mortal Kombat uppercut that subscribe button.
Yeah. We'll be back hopefully next week. That's the plan. If not, we'll be back within 2 weeks with episode 77. First off, we're doing Nostalgia Goggles, the Steven Spielberg directed, Robin Williams, Dustin Hoffman, absolute classic Hook.
What a film.
For episode 77, which is also our 2-year anniversary episode. Our first episode came out on April 11th, 2023. 2 years.
Crazy. 2-year anniversary.
Yeah. 2 years and 77 episodes later.
Let's go. Who would have thought? Who would have thunk?
No,
how committed we'd be to our 23
probably
fans.
People in the last 4 weeks that were like, I guess they're done.
Yeah. What's up when this post? They're going to be like, oh, I forgot that was even a thing.
I forgot those guys existed. Huh? Well,
which is funny because right before we took this hiatus, we had like a podcast community like reach out because they were like, you guys have just hit like a milestone that like 99% of podcasts never reach, and that's more than like 5 episodes. So but I thought that was kind of cool.
I did get a notification too. We got like our 1,000th download on something. I don't remember what service it was the other day.
Let's go.
Right. So we'll be back 77 next week. Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.
Bye.